So if we could move ahead here, if I find my technology. Hey, it works. We have some judges. The 5 judges are seated at the front here. Okay, good. We have Shane Flynn from Ryerson DMZ. Where's Shane? There's Shane. We have Kelly Emery from Kinetics. Kelly. And I think we have Tassim Ahmad replacing Roger Chabra from Tribal Scale. Welcome, Tassim. Craig Haney from Communitech in Kitchener. Long trip today. You managed to come in on time, or did you get a little late?
We left at 6 a.m.
You left at 6 a.m. and you were still a little late. Oh, sorry. Maybe you were here on time. Communicopter. Is that anything like a Hyperloop? Maybe we could do a tunnel between Toronto and Kitchener or something. And Dave Kruitz from Fair Ventures. So Dave, welcome to our judges. We haven't really told the pitchers who the judges have been until now, so hopefully they didn't figure it out and haven't had the opportunity to do any bribes. Has anybody had a bribe attempt at this point?
Sadly, no.
Sadly, no? Okay. I tried to offer my services and said they could bribe me all they wanted to, but they didn't bite that they thought I was a judge. So anyway. So I guess it's time to start. So we're going to move into our first presenter, who today is going to be Ron Glosman, who's the CEO of Note. So Ron, you're ready? I'm not sure who gets to start the clock. Are you starting the clock over there? Welcome, Ron.
Awesome. Sounds good. Awesome. Thank you. So my name is Ron Glosman. I'm the CEO of Note, and I'm here to tell you a bit about our company. So we're a local Toronto startup. We actually started at the University of Waterloo, so we're quite familiar with Communitech, Velocity. We went through the Creative Destruction Lab. We're currently part of the DMZ with Aviva as their InsurTech accelerator. So we're a natural language processing platform, which I'll get to in just a minute. But it's a fancy way of saying we teach computers to read really, really well and really, really fast. What this allows us to do is use artificial intelligence to automate tasks such as claims processing, policy checking, first notice of loss, etc. So we read, extract, compare, and present information in ways that a human would, but about 300 to 400 times faster. So there's 7 branches of AI. The one we're in, as I mentioned, is natural language processing. That's the ability to read. And we couple it with something else called named entity recognition. That's the ability to read and identify nouns. So a person, place, or thing. So who's the company being insured? What's their address? What's the effective date? What's the premium? What's the limit? Any deductibles? Any outstanding conditions? What endorsements? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're able to pull out between 200 to 500 pieces of information from any piece of insurance document. Claims, submissions, quotes, binders, you name it. And so what we do is then we couple it with our models, which can then help you do lots of cool things, such as policy check. So policy check allows you to take a binder and a policy and compare the two to make sure that you don't have any errors and omissions, which, as you know, is a very timely, cost-expensive process. This year alone, we've saved our customers $20 million. So we're quite impressed and quite happy with that result. We have another product about data extraction, so that's the ability to read and extract any type of information for use with your typical BI tool, Tableau, etc. And this year, we're bringing to market something very exciting in partnership with Aviva called submission prioritization. This will allow brokers to submit digital submissions and have Aviva underwrite them in 30 seconds or less. So this year alone, we're going to do about 150,000 submissions this way. Pretty exciting stuff. And then some other ones that we're working on include issuance of certificates and claims intake. What I want to talk about, though, more general than just what we do, is how we think AI can help insurance. It starts with basic things, such as automating the policy check, things like that. And it goes as far as data analytics and data extraction, which is where we believe it's going. So you can help automate any of the things such as commercial reporting, the audit process, etc. To summarize, I know there's a lot. We're happy to give you a demo at the back. We'll have a little booth set up. What I'd like to leave you with is the 4 words that are our company motto, which is we want to help you work smart, not hard. Thank you. Great. So I think we have 5 minutes for questions now.
So can you tell me a little bit about the actual pain point you're solving for the insured?
Totally. So we started with the broker industry about 9 months ago, and we were approached by one of the two biggest insurance brokers in the world who said, look, last year alone we lost $200 million due to errors and omissions. People making mistakes. They're forgetting to add somebody to the policy. They're putting the wrong address. So what we're able to do is we're able to take two dissimilar documents, a 3-page binder and a 50, 100, 200-page policy, and make sure that all the entities that need to be there are attached. All the commissions are correct. All the premiums are correct. So this year alone, we found 5 errors that a human missed that would have totaled about $20 million in losses.
So is that currently the top use case of your product right now?
Yeah, that was the first use case. Our second use case is submission prioritization, which we brought to market with Aviva this quarter.
Quick question on data. You talk about data extraction and analytics. Insurance companies have a lot of data, but it's not really information or usable. How do you actually get that into some sort of format that allows you to put your math on it?
Excellent. Great question. So you can take historical policies. So all the information today is trapped in PDFs or in some sort of AMS or BMS system. So we're able to plug and play into Epic, Keel, anything like that, pull all the policies, and then we're able to tell you between, as I mentioned, 200 to 500 pieces of information in that piece of paper. So what we get from a binder might differ than what we get from a policy, or it might differ than what we get from a submission, but it'll always have a name, it'll always have a postal code, it'll always have a date, some things that are constant. And so we're able to get at least 50 things and as many as 500 things from any piece of paper, and then you can do loss run reports, lots of very, very cool statistics.
I'm actually curious to know what the big objections you're getting when you're going out and actually reaching out to these carriers. Do they not understand AI and the technology that you're using? Is there concern on their end that you're going to be replacing a lot of jobs in these carriers? Like, what are those objections that you're getting?
Great question. So I think both of those are objections we get often, and so I'll cover both of those. So the first one was, what do you do with the people? Are there going to be people affected? And so typically, policy checking is something that's done by a broken coordinator or the head broker. And so it's not really adding value. It's like, imagine you've sold something and then you need to fill in the paperwork on the back end. It's more of a check process. And so if we're able to automate that, it frees up people to actually do more selling, and they're able to drive more to the top line revenue. So we look at it as adding value rather than detracting it. On the second side, regarding accuracy, it's a great question. So today, we're at about 95% accurate, which is the benchmark for a human-level accuracy. By the end of December, we'll be at about 96%, which is statistically better than a human. And so for each order of magnitude of data, we increase 1%. Long story short, by 2019, we predict we'll be at 99.99% accuracy. And at the end of this year, we'll surpass human-level accuracy.
So you mentioned during a presentation that you actually had customers. I was wondering if you could tell me more about them and probably their size and stuff.
Sure. So a lot of that is under an NDA. The way that I would put it is we're currently working with 3 of the biggest 5 insurance brokers in the whole world. They're multinationals, not small brokerages. This year alone, we're going to help them process about 500,000 policies. On the other side, with carriers, we work with 2 of the biggest 10.
Quick question. So as NLP and other AI technologies mature and become essentially commoditized, wouldn't you expect that the core systems that your customers are using today to adopt that technology? What's your sustainable, long-term plan here? It feels to me like you're entering a heavily commoditized technology space.
Totally. So what we focus on more than the fact that we're in insurance is the fact that we can read. So a big part of our business is in government, and the government is one of our major clients. And so we plan to move into mortgages, again, paperwork heavy. And so what we really pride ourselves on is, somebody mentioned it earlier, we're a technology company that happens to be in insurance. That's exactly how we are. We don't plan on being in insurance forever. We plan on having the best product out there, but it's by no means, our company's not an insurance company, we're an AI company. Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Ron. So one ticky boo over there for InsurTech being technology, I think. They're technology providers. That's the middle one of my three. Our second pitch competitor today is from Eddie Home, and I'd like to welcome Venki Wilagro. Thank you. Good luck, man. Go for it.
Thanks. All right. Okay, so we get this here. Hi, everyone. My name is Venki Wilagro. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing for Eddie Home. So I have exactly 3 minutes to forever change the way you look at water damage as a risk. So I'll start by stating the obvious. Water damage is a problem. As my friends in the insurance industry like to say, water is the new fire. Did you know that you're 3 times more likely to experience water damage over theft and 12 times more likely to experience water damage over fire? The great news is that IoT has enabled innovative ways to address risks that simply wasn't possible before. Eddie has used this platform to provide a solution that addresses the missing piece to a truly smart home: water. Let me introduce you to the Eddie suite of products. This is the Eddie IQ. Some of the features include remote and automatic shutoff at the water main, machine learning to reduce false positive alerts, water temperature alerts to prevent against frozen and burst pipes, and 24/7 live monitoring. The only thing the IQ can't do is tell you the location of the water incident. That's where the Eddie H2O sensors come into play, providing you valuable insights into the precise location of the leak. The sensors also have the ability to monitor temperature and humidity, which are factors in detecting mold-like conditions. And lastly, we have our My Eddie Home app, which makes it easy to track your water usage, as well as take action whenever an issue arises. Now I'll quickly show you how our products are configured in a real environment. I'll start with residential. As you can see, the IQ is installed down at the water main. The H2O sensors are placed in high-risk areas throughout the home. For example, under the water heater, dishwasher, and washing machine. Our system is designed with multiple levels of redundancy for added protection. With multi-dwelling units, we use a sensor solution today. The main difference from residential is the added redundancy for notifications to the property manager and/or on-site security, who will ultimately make the decision to shut the water off or not. Currently under development is the Eddie Link. Whether residential, multi-dwelling units, or commercial application, the Link will have the ability to interface with the existing meter to shut the water off at the main for pipe sizes all the way up to 18 inches. The Link also allows for flexibility in creating a DIY approach. Eddie's technology can prevent up to 93% of water-related damage that occurs within the home. This includes plumbing leaks, heating and cooling leaks, and appliance failures. We have invested considerable capital in creating the most comprehensive system on the market. While other products can offer parts of what we do, nobody can offer the holistic approach we have taken to water risk management. We are not leak detection, we are loss prevention. Thank you.
Hi there. I'm wondering if you could tell me about the installation process and how much that costs.
So the installation process generally is about $150. If it's with the Eddie IQ, it would require, we recommend that you use a plumber. However, our Link solution is pretty much a DIY approach. If you consider a Nest a DIY product, then ours is no more difficult than that with the Link.
I'm curious to know why you decided to go after residential versus commercial. Did you see a bigger opportunity there?
In the commercial, or sorry, starting in residential?
In the residential.
You know, when we originally launched, we actually launched in California, and there was a big need for conservation initiatives, right? So we started there. We have approximately 3,000 customers there, and our product also does metering, and it allows you to see exactly how much you track water. So that's the reason why we started in residential, to be fair, and then we started looking at other commercial applications after that.
Maybe I'm a bit confused. So you're at an insurance event. Is this a product for insurance companies in the room? Or?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me more about that then. So what I didn't hear was the pain point for the insurer. It sounded like there was risk obviously associated with water damage. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure.
What's the dollar value here?
So the dollar value is hard for us to sort of quantify, which is what we've been working with insurance companies right now, is figuring out, I think that's been our main hindrance to adoption right now is, okay, how much is this going to save they're on them on their portfolio, right? And so we're working on that. We have a pilot with a few of the large insurance brokers, TD, Aviva, Northbridge, is to name a few. And so we're working at figuring that out and ultimately what the adoption strategy should be going to market. And so to answer that question, I couldn't tell you exactly how much that would be, we'd be saving them, but soon enough we should know the data for that.
Sorry, one quick follow-on. So is your expectation then that the insurance companies would pay for or subsidize or?
Well, currently most insurance companies already, I would say probably 1 out of every 2 consumers are available to get a discount on their policy. So most insurance companies are already doing that. So we are looking at furthering market, our strategies with insurance companies that allow where they may subsidize as well. So on top of providing a discount.
Smart home's getting a little bit messy with a whole bunch of different providers providing different platforms, and I don't want 72 different apps running my house. Yeah. Talk to me about integration and how you're going to play nice with some of the big guys.
So that's great. Actually, that's probably one of the bigger issues today is that there's so much available. So we have an open API that allows us to integrate with the Google Homes, and the Apples and so forth and so forth. So we're looking at those integrations. Currently, we're partnering, well, let's just say we can work with Nest, Ring doorbells, that sort of stuff. So we're working on solving that solution because we understand that nobody wants 12 different apps on their phone.
One more thing, do you have hardware versus software and ongoing sort of monitoring fees? What's your business model? How do you make money on this dance?
Perfect.
Because we didn't get a chance to ask Note. We'd still like to learn that.
Yep. So we do have a hardware fee for the IQs and the sensors. We also have an optional monitoring fee. So there's 2 solutions you can go with. You can go with an unmonitored solution where you're just buying the product and you're self-monitoring. Or what some insurance companies are requiring is that there's a 24/7 system that's monitoring in order to get those discounts. And we offer that as well. So we can provide that at anywhere between $7.95 to $9.95, or we can either purchase this outright, rent it. We have a lot of flexibility in how we can market it and approach that.
And one last thing, just to follow up on that, percentage of revenue for you guys on recurring versus hardware?
Recurring right now, it's predominantly recurring. So I would say we are today probably about 90% recurring versus just hardware. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
So we'd like to turn now to our third presenter, who is going to be Nigel Lau. And Nigel is from Acad Shield. Nigel, you're on. Welcome. Good luck.
Thank you, everyone. So, many university students have failed courses before. And I'm sure you recall a time when you were a university student, you may have come close to failing a course. If not, you definitely would have known of friends who did. Tuition in Canada isn't cheap, with domestic students paying up to $10,000 per term for their tuition, and international students paying over twice that amount sometimes. Thus, failing a course can be extremely expensive, losing a few $1,000s at once. Which is why I came up with Acad Shield. Acad Shield is an academic insurance company that provides reimbursements for students who have failed or dropped courses in their university career. How this works is very simple. Firstly, the student pays a premium upfront at the beginning of the term, typically a small percentage of their tuition fee. If the student fails or drops a course, then he or she is now eligible for the course fee reimbursement by Acad Shield. If, on the other hand, the student passes all courses and have demonstrated a good improvement in their academic career, then they are eligible for partial premium refunds by Acad Shield as a reward for their hard work. Now, in terms of direct competition, there aren't too much out there because this is still a very unique and novel idea. Now, in terms of indirect competition, there are 2 main categories. One, which is university policies, for example, airdrop periods. Now, airdrop periods are a 3-week experimental duration for students to determine if the course is really fitting for them. But the main disadvantage of this is that many students find 3 weeks far too short and drop courses or fail courses after the airdrop period has ended. Now, the second category is grants and bursaries. For example, we have financial aid from the government. Now, the main drawback is that majority of the students do not qualify for these and are therefore not covered. So premium pricing will be based on actuarial science and data science concepts. For example, I'll be using machine learning together with some algorithms, which includes factors, for example, student GPA, we have course difficulty. All these are very interesting factors, and the data hasn't really been considered in great detail previously. So I'm a senior actuarial science student in the University of Waterloo, and I'm the founder of AcadShield. Previously, I've worked in different insurance companies. I'm also proud to bring to you Martin, who is my advisor. Now, Martin owns a very successful educational startup that has about 30 employees in just 2 years. With that, thank you for your time. And I'm sure with your help, we can extend a second chance for students.
I'm really curious to know how you stop the students who you don't actually want to be using this to use this. Like, how do you actually find, like, if I had this in school, I probably might have skipped a few more classes knowing I could get a refund.
Yeah, so that's a very good question. I think one of the common feedback I've been getting is like, are you not incentivizing students to fail or something along that lines? My main response to that would be like, if you're buying, for example, car insurance, are you really incentivized to crash? In my opinion, I think most students take a course to pass it. They're not taking a course and aiming to fail the course, because who would spend 4 months of their time, who would risk their college GPA to do really badly? I think insurance in a case is more of like a backup plan and removes the uncertainty that you have, and it gives you the peace of mind. And that's the whole value of insurance in that case.
Hi, I'm curious what your distribution strategy is. I mean, are you selling this product through the admissions office at the university, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Thank you. So I'm in talks with the university. I'm still doing, I'm looking at student organizations for now, and I'm planning to roll forward and try to achieve a partnership. Now, that is going to be difficult, of course, so I might have to do a third party, like a kind of a direct sales with students. Now, that would be a different channel, of course, and would result in more, I would need sales agents, for example.
So, sorry, do you currently have anybody that's purchased your product to date?
So no, this is, so currently this is kind of, I have the MVP and everything ready. It's just the regulatory procedures that are a little bit more difficult for me, because I do have the actuarial knowledge and all the data science knowledge yeah. So yeah, that's the main thing. Because of a new product out there, it's going to be, in terms of regulatory, it's going to be a little bit more challenging so far.
So you mentioned that there's regulatory clashes. Do you see any clashes with, for example, OSAP, that there's going to be some misalignment there?
No, I don't see anything. I don't see a problem with OSAP. I do understand that OSAP has recently launched financial aid, like very, very recently, but they only apply to low-income Canadians. So like majority of students do not qualify for those. I do believe in terms of student loans, there's not going to be any conflicts, because students are still paying from their own pocket. So that means that eventually they'll have to pay back the loans, and they would still feel the pain for failing a course. And I think that's the main pain point out there. But in terms of financial aid, I mean, students are not paying anything, and it's paid fully by the government. Then I think they would not require the insurance in the first place.
I think this is fascinating. Dave and I are actually talking a little bit of this on the way here about the difference between insurance and financial planning. Where does this fit within your world? Whether if a student is better financially, he or she doesn't really need this product, and versus a product that sort of supports maybe some behaviors that we don't want. Earlier to Shane's point, how do you reconcile that on a business model as you grow this? That you're going to get some challenges where, in many cases, this is maybe something that people, either the universities or the parents really don't want them to have.
Yeah. So I think, firstly, from the university standpoint, they would not refund the students' tuition for failing a course, because I mean, the university is providing teaching resources, and they're providing professors again for the new course. So students would have to pay from their own pocket. So that point is established. So the next thing is like, are students really incentivized to failing, and would that really disrupt financial planning? My opinion is yes, because if you're failing a course for a few $1,000s, I mean, that's really gonna hurt. And I mean, you're seeing a doctor's appointment that's $50 or $100, and you're claiming insurance for that. So why not a course that is a few $1,000s? And I mean, I'm setting up, for example, some features that are really attractive. We have, of course, premiums are dependent on GPA, for example. So weaker students, they might have to pay a slight extra premium, and that really also incentivizes students to work hard. And at the same time, there will be some partial premium refunds for students that have demonstrated really good improvements. So I think that's going to be a strong reward for their hard work. So yeah, that would kind of differentiate the students and also, give them the urge to.
And then this also then kind of along that point would then incentivize the universities to want to play with you because you could actually maybe keep them in class. So
exactly.
So tell me a little bit about what that future looks like for you.
Yeah, I think if it's going to be through the university, it's going to be a lot easier for me as a startup because it's going to be, the channel it's mostly covered. There will just be mass emails sent to the students to notify them of this new policy that's going to be in place. So yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot easier in terms of efficiency, and students would kind of treat this also as a benefit for them to know at the back of the mind that they are being covered for this, and that it really reduces the variance in terms of the whatever finances that they could have.
Sorry.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Nigel. Interesting to see how some of our participants are expanding the insurance market, if you will, creating a new market. Intriguing. I like that one. We're on to the next one. So I would like to welcome to the stage Art Harrison from Form Hero. Art?
Congratulations. Go for it. See if I can figure this out. Hey, I'm Art from Form Hero, and we're on a mission to help ensure that organizations are never asking twice for the information that they need from their customers. I think we all understand that data is an essential part of every business, whether it's powering your acquisition and onboarding campaigns or helping you try to retain your customers for the long term. It's the data that actually helps move the people through your systems. But all too often, that information and the process of collecting that data is built to serve your internal needs. It's an outdated process, it results in a ton of errors, and it frankly just doesn't work the way your customers expect you to work. But it wasn't always that way. There was a time where collecting that data and even the paperwork was a good customer experience. If you can imagine, it wasn't too long ago when you were applying for a new product, a broker, an agent, a representative comes to your house, they interview you, they get to know you, they understand that you have kids on the way, you're buying a new business, and they're gonna go through and fill out all of the internal forms for you. At the end, they just turn it around to you. You don't have to know the legalese, the jargon. You're just reviewing it and signing it. And a new customer is kind of born for life. And that's the experience that we're trying to recreate with our Smart Forms platform at Form Hero. So what's a smart form? A smart form is a form that automatically adapts and adjusts to provide only the relevant questions to every customer. If you know information about a customer and you pass it to the smart form, those questions can be completely eliminated from their workflow. So you're not asking them to tell you about their address or their status again. As they go through and they answer individual questions, the smart form is determining what questions to surface to them next. So if it's a corporation, you might be asking them about their beneficial owner structure. But a sole proprietor or a partnership is taken down a completely different path. And once you've collected that information, that's when it gets really exciting. The Smart Forms platform automatically takes all of that information and generates the artifacts you need to power your business. Whether that's automatically populating all of the PDFs or documents that you or your partners or the carriers need and presenting it to the customer for e-signature, or for the digital-first organizations taking that information and pushing it into their APIs or database so that they can consume it, make real-time decisions and adjudication on it, and move forward. So what you're looking at here is kind of what a typical smart form looks like. We break complex processes like a CGL application into bite-sized chunks that allow people to go through and answer with context. It's not a dense form like taking a test that you typically see in some of those 10, 20, 30-page forms. It's dynamic, it's always adjusting, and with pre-population and external callouts, you can enrich the answers that people are providing so they don't have to answer it themselves. And most importantly, and the reason that we play in the insurance in insurance and banking and other highly regulated sectors is that we do all of this in a completely secure manner. We don't persist any of the information that your customers are providing you, meaning that the information resides with you, the organization, whether that's a carrier, whether that's a broker management system, or anywhere else. Just to give you a quick idea of one of those processes, we worked with one of the major carriers, and we looked at one of their processes. It was a total loss process, where they were today emailing a form to the customer, having that customer hopefully be able to print it, fill it, sign it, and then fax or mail it back to them. And for every day that they did that, it was a $30 rental car. Just by taking that and turning it into a smart form that could be filled on their phone, automatically submitted back to their Guidewire system, they're looking at over a $600,000 savings for every day it reduces from that process. And that's what we do. We are Form Hero, and our goal, as I said, is to help you interact with your customers and never ask them twice for the information you already have.
Can you talk a little bit about your pricing model and how is this a SaaS or?
Yeah, so we are a SaaS. We as a startup, you adapt on the fly. So we were a SaaS, and we're built for transaction, kind of transactional. So we usually look at the process we're supporting, and it may be, start at a few dollars per transaction and scale down. Our initial success has actually been in the banking sector. And so some of our initial deals were actually enterprise-wide deals where they were looking to do a 10,000 form catalog of everything they do in branch. So we're adopting to some enterprise-sized deals and some flat rates and maintenance models as well. But SaaS is our nature, and even for them, we're still powering a SaaS environment. How much? It can start for a few dollars, or you get into the multi-millions for some of the major organizations as well. But we've done processes that can be a few $1,000s a month. The challenge we have, just to be honest, is we've had a lot of interest from the brokers and finding out how to do that on scale, because building a form, whether they're building it or we are, is the same for an Aviva, one of the major carriers, as it is for a broker. So we're looking as we continue to grow to merge that and look for solutions that we can roll out to brokers, en masse, where they can just add their own branding and logos and still work with the same carriers. Yes,
and then I guess on that question, how much of this is turnkey where you can really give it over to Aviva or someone and they can do all the form creation themselves versus you having to go in there and develop all the forms for them?
So the platform is getting more and more evolved so that people are doing it themselves. On the banking side, there's some corporate partners we've had now looking at their legal forms. A lot of people have that interest, and that is happening, and it is a turnkey in that way. The challenge and where we're growing our education side is there's an art to it as well. You look at some of the forms that are out there, and if you just go through a linear process and say, we're just going to map every question, great, that's easy. But we're looking at how to train people at how to look at questions differently. A lot of information can be derived with the way you ask questions, and you can simplify process. So we're building out training and capacity to educate people on that same thing. You don't have to just explicitly ask every question. You can sometimes derive things and take people down paths that surfaces the information. So that is still a challenge, and that's when we get in under the kind of consulting arm to educate people in that vein.
I feel like this is a bit of a gateway drug for some of these folks that yes, you solve a pretty specific and neat problem right now, but there's a lot more you could do with this moving forward once you have some of these capabilities sort of either for them or the data, which I say you sort of transfer or flow through, but they're going to want some of that capabilities outside. So talk about what's next for you. So you're doing this is great, but there's a lot more.
Sure. There's a few things. So first and foremost, we're often brought in with people who have a delayed digital plan. So our true gateway is when we're generating the paperwork that the carriers, the banks, whoever are using. That's there. We want to go live and provide a better customer experience today, and we know we want to go digital, but we're not ready. So our first step is get in, generate the artifacts that just let their back office work how they have, and then start working with them in parallel to start consuming it digitally. After that, absolutely, we're looking at how we can start looking at how people answer questions, how to interact with systems. Our dream, and we're working on this, we have a pilot with one of the banks, is to launch a new form and have it know, because your systems are connected, that there's only 2 more questions you have to ask to qualify for a new product. Get down to that ask never that some organizations have. Our goal is to start using, like the note and AI, looking at the documents, looking at how people are asking it, and being able to get there before they even have to think about it. Just upload to our system and start collecting the information that you want and integrating it with your own products.
The previous panel, someone spoke a little bit about chatbots. Aren't forms going away?
I don't know that they are. Like, I think that chatbots is on our radar as well, because at the end of the day, it's a systematic way for collecting information. I think that there are places where it will go away and it should go away. But we look at powering everything from voice systems to chatbots to forms. At the end of the day, what we're building, and you kind of saw it in one of the slides, is a decision tree where there's a certain amount of AI that can go into it. But there's also so many times that information, it's not as organic and as natural as you would want it to be. It's built around the way your business works. So the forms may go away in some aspects, but there's still customers that want to interact. There's still branch processes. There's still something has to capture that data. And until we truly get to that, I just speak at you, and naturally I'm registered for new coverage, which would be great, because I've said a lot of things I wish I just magically had coverage on in passing. And if I were registered, it'd be fantastic. But until then, I think there's a long-term play of data collection.
Damn it.
Thank you.
I'd like now to introduce our next pitch person, and that would be Tom Smith from Centeri. So, Tom? Welcome. Good luck.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Tom Smith. Centeri provides a smart home platform for the P&C insurance industry. So specifically, our target market is homeowners insurance carriers in the US and Canada. Very large market, 100 billion in premiums, insuring roughly 100 million properties, but very tightly held. Roughly 50 insurance carriers in both the US and Canada. The top 50 control, upwards of 80% of the market. So for us, it's a fantastic channel to reach the household, being a smart home solutions provider. So the market problem that we're addressing is one that we've heard here today, that insurance without value has very little value for the consumer. So the notion of selling insurance as a standalone product will soon be history. We view that insurance model as going extinct. So what Centeri does is empowers the insurance of tomorrow, which for homeowners insurance, for property insurance, it's bundling smart home tech. Things like, the water detect leak sensor that we saw today with Eddie, smart smoke alarms, smart door locks, temperature monitoring, power monitoring, those sorts of things are now becoming available as consumer products, bundling that with the insurance premium and some level of enhanced care around quicker claims response, preferred repair networks, et cetera. So it's really taking the relationship of insurance to the next level with the insurance and the consumer both experiencing benefits. So our business model is we partner with insurance carriers to develop smart home programs. They then market those programs to their policyholders and prospects, and Centeri delivers the tech and the data analytics to the insurance carrier. Our value proposition is really empowering agents and brokers to create these new smart home products and bring them to market. Really for the purposes of attracting new customers. Folks are looking for these products. If they can find that water leak detect sensor through their insurance company relationship and get it on a subsidized basis versus their current carrier that does not offer that, it's a way to attract new business, right? You take a technology widget, you bundle it with the insurance, you can improve your sales. You can also improve your retention through higher customer satisfaction. You can lower losses through these products, definitely differentiate the brand, and then accumulate data as an asset, which is a new asset for the company. Our management team has been in the InsurTech space. We had a successful UBI company in the US that we landed some large accounts. MapFree, MetLife, American Family were some of our flagship accounts. Very similar business model where we took technology, bundled it with an insurance premium to create value that was enhanced for the policyholder and enhanced for the carrier. So in summary, large market opportunity, it's a channel play. Our solution is specific to insurance. We have a nice value proposition, a recurring revenue model, and an experienced management team. And I'll leave this quote here with one of our current clients here in the region and open it up for questions.
I probably can't count the number of pitches like this I've seen in terms of tons of people going after IoT. The thing that I struggle with most is what's the value proposition to the consumer, right? So it feels as though this is almost like some technology looking for a problem to solve, and you've identified a really brilliant channel, and I think insurance companies can play a big role in that, but I'm still struggling with what's the value proposition for me, the homeowner, to have this technology in my home?
There's two things. One, well, let me back up and say the value for you to have this technology in your home is driven. We're seeing the largest companies in the world of Amazon, Google, Apple, Samsung, all developing smart home product lines because consumers are adopting these products. Whether it's monitoring temperature remotely, automating my door locks, automating my garage, people are buying these products. So our value proposition is you can get those types of products through your insurance carrier, agent, or broker on a subsidized basis. And you can also qualify for an insurance discount because a lot of these products, if they're fire, theft, or water mitigating, then they will lower losses. So I can, on the front end, I can get a product subsidy. On the back end, I can get an insurance discount. So that's the value to the consumer by getting these through their insurance agent or their broker or direct.
So sorry, I think maybe I can perhaps try. So essentially, I could purchase a Google Home through Aviva using your technology, and I can get the Google Home for less than $10 a month or something like that. And as an additional incentive, I also get a lower premium. Is that kind of how it works?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So are you creating your own hardware, or are you a reseller for other hardware? Is it just purely software?
We do all three. So we have our own proprietary hardware where most all smart home products today on the market are Wi-Fi based, right? When power goes out, Wi-Fi goes down, systems stop reporting. So our initial product, we signed in a contract with an insurance carrier. There was a product development engagement where we created a cellular-based hub and a variety of sensor types to monitor power, temperature, humidity, light. And then a back-end system to tabulate that data and aggregate it for the carrier. So we have a proprietary set of sensors, but we also recognize we're never going to build everything, nor do we want to compete directly with the Googles and the Amazons. So our API structure can bring in data and validate that those other products are installed in the home, which is a key component. And then the back-end system, we serve the insurance carrier through an admin system of what properties have what products installed. And what types of products are they?
So from a consumer perspective, the consumer would give you permission in order to access all of that data for you to share it to the insurer so that then they can access their discounts. Is that right?
Correct. They consent.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are there ever any issues in terms of that consent process then?
Not really. In our UBI world, that was sort of the pushback 10 years ago, was are people going to share their driving data? And if there's value for them coming back in the form of a discount or a product subsidy, they're willing to exchange that data as long as they're receiving some value.
And final question, are there smart home technologies that you currently don't work with right now?
I can't think of any. No, it's wide open.
I want to probe a little bit more. One of the challenges I have with it is it's a zero-sum game, right? So essentially, you're asking for many of the folks in this room to subsidize technology. If customers are truly interested in this, eventually they'll all go the subsidy model, or they'll go to those who are giving them subsidy on the product. Aren't you really just asking carriers to essentially give a mass discount on their premiums with little value in return?
Well, it's not little value in return. It's the ability to market new products and get new customers. It's the ability to improve
That's the short-term
retention.
differentiation. Eventually, everybody will have this from sort of what you're proposing, right?
Yeah, but the market today is 1% to 5% penetrated with smart home products. So the curve is like this. The growth curve is just astronomical of the opportunities. I mean, we're seeing new entrants come in this space. We're seeing carriers in Canada starting to offer water detection devices as embedded with the premiums. So there's definitely an early mover advantage to capture market share, but the zero-sum game is if there's only 100 million insured properties, it's who owns those properties. And we provide those competitive advantages for people to attract business and retain business and lower losses.
So it's more of it's a marketing play? Is that customer
I think
acquisition
so.
marketing
Yeah,
play?
absolutely. It put tools in the hands of carriers and brokers to market their product, differentiate their brand, but also provide value. in these types of products that people are actually looking for. I guess that's it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Tom. Our next presenter from BII Canada, and when I initially saw this, I was a little bit confused with the name. The name actually is Bullseye Imagery and Inspections, Inc. And we have two presenters. So we have two presenters today, John Terrazzo and Patrick McDonald. And at the same time as that happens, I'm going to introduce a new rule. And the new rule is they both can't speak at the same time.
Okay. We're going to try not to. Good afternoon. My name is Patrick. My partner, John, and I would first like to thank everybody here for this opportunity.
So BI Canada, we are a Bullseye Imagery and Inspection Services. We're an inspection and loss control company that does inspections out in the field and collects data for on behalf of the insurance industry. And we'd like to share with you today an app we've developed called IATIS, Imagery and Document Upload System.
In the world we live in now, clients expect us to be able to communicate with them through handheld devices. IATIS is an application that will empower users to request, manage, and share images, documents. Oh. We good? It's an application that will empower users to request, manage, and share images, documents, and form data instantaneously through texting. Texting is personal and it's very empowering. Let's suggest for a minute that I'm a broker and I'm requiring photos of John's car. With a few entries in John's cell number, I select from customized photo sets that I've created. I hit send request, and my task is now complete. As simple as that. John receives notification via text that I'm requesting these photos.
So the notice comes to my phone, and it'll tell me exactly the photograph I need, the angle I need, in order to frame it accordingly, and then send it back to in this case, the broker. And at the same time, if a signature is requested, then we can do a signature on the bottom, and that would be sent as well.
When the image arrives back in my computer, I can view each and confirm. I confirm where those images were taken and the dates and times that they were taken. IATIS also provides an audit of the timeline and the location of the actual photo set, not just the individual photo, for quality assurance purposes. Combined with the ability to collect a signature, the requester can have confidence in the data.
So the purpose of IATIS, so with respect to IATIS, it gives us an opportunity to send a request, a photo set to the insureds, and they can upload various aspects of photos that the insurance company needs. It is a web-based application, and it can be integrated through API into a number of systems as a standalone, so there's no huge costs in incorporating it into existing system. It can just be attached to it. It is white labeled, so you can the broker can put their name on it if they want to put it, or the insurance company. And it's simple. The premise of IATIS is simplicity, because we have the consumer in mind. They will ultimately be the end user for this.
And we also like to add that we believe that the new call to action is texting. It used to be Canada Post. When you received something in the mail, that was your call to action. You took action on it. And there's tons and tons of emails. Everybody's going to go back to 1,000 emails. But texting is personal, and it is controlled by the CRTC. This opens up the door for you to be able to communicate with your clients by text because you're asking them for it. Thank you.
I'm curious to know how much innovation in technology is actually behind this product. It seems very simple to me. If I'm Sun Life or Aviva, what's stopping me from just doing this myself and integrating it into the app I already have versus white labeling yours?
It is true that it is simple technology, and in fact, the tool itself is embedded in some complex claims and policy management systems. We know that. But this tool we've created is a standalone tool. We'll be offering it on a subscription basis. It'll be extremely affordable to be able to use, especially for a small operator, for a small broker network.
We're dealing with a few brokers right now, and one of their biggest issues, or not big, but in processing a file is, I need a photograph of the wood stove. I need a photocopy of or a photograph of the wet certificate. Can you please email that to me? With this system here, they can literally push a button and get it done instantaneously, as opposed to having to wait a couple of weeks and then collating all the data at the end. What we provided you there was basically a sample of what would come back in the format, and it can be in a PDF format, or it can be implemented directly into their processes.
What do you do with quality control? What if the pictures suck? What if the photographer can't do the job that the broker's asking them to do, and formats are wrong, and that's not really a problem, but what if the photographer really sucks?
The broker will be having a conversation with the client before they send out the pictures. And they do have the ability to reorder the pictures if the quality isn't there. There is some code in the background that's looking at the quality aspect of the photos. And if it fails, the system itself will ask for an additional photo. If the exposures aren't correct, the system will catch it.
You mentioned the consumers are texting to the brokers, so do the consumers have the application, or do
No, there is no application necessary. The broker sends a link. It's a link that the insured will open. When they open up the link, they're instructed visually on what photos to take and how to take them. And the brokers themselves create, and it doesn't have to be brokers, but we use brokers as an example. So the broker themselves set up their own templates of photos that they want. So it doesn't have to be cars. It could be of a house. It could be of a set of commercial pictures that they may require.
Can you explain a little bit about how easy or difficult it is to integrate with existing systems? So, and I guess maybe I'm not clear, is this a separate system that you would expect the brokers or the carriers to use, or is this?
It'll be a subscription service. It'll be self-sufficient. A broker can go on, pay a monthly fee, and use the service at will, according to the terms and conditions. And then we'll also have some enterprise version available for clients that want to integrate.
So in the integration, because I would imagine that if I'm a broker or I'm a carrier, I kind of want this data in my system and not necessarily have to use another tool for that, or my adjusters or claims agents.
So the photos themselves, when they come back as a set, they can be downloaded into a PDF, or they can be exported in a zip file for other purposes.
One question about your client base right now. So currently you're targeting brokers. How many brokers do you have signed up for this product?
Well, currently we're not targeting brokers, but we've got 3-4 brokers that we're piloting this with right now, and we're doing this. We've using this ourselves as part of our process when we're completing what we do with respect to the inspections. So we're actually using the data. The system in the background for the stuff that we're actually doing right now. And then we're doing the auto for one of our brokers as well.
Thank you.
Wow, thanks to all of our competitors today. That was really interesting. I found it that way, at least. I saw it as a entry point, if you will, or a view into some of the things that the young, well, I guess they all weren't young, were they? The innovative group amongst us or in the community out there are undertaking in order to address opportunities that they see. So this whole InsurTech space seems to have exploded in every dimension, and it's great to see some of these people, the ones we heard today,